Hey guys, it's Batman Ultra 7. Haven't made a video in a while, so this is going to be interesting, and this one's going to be a doozy, because I love Batman, and I've loved Batman since before I could read. More specifically, Batman the Animated Series. I still vividly remember laying in front of the TV at my grandparents' house, watching an episode of BTAS on the Fox box, those days when I just laid down and watched all the amazing episodes of this show on the TV from all hours of the day. When I say this show took over my life, it really did. In a good way. I primarily watched BTAS when I was super young and still do. It reminds me of those simpler times. So when I found out about Batman Mask the Phantasm, a Batman movie in the BTAS universe, I was pumped and immediately asked for it for my birthday. Don't remember which one it was, but I was pretty young, and my mom and brother both got me a copy of it for some reason. Not the last time I got 2 copies of something by accident. Hello to Helicopter Toys from Batman Begins. Yes, I bought the action figures released with it. I have 3 DVD copies of it, 2 regular and 1. A Blu-ray copy I got recently. Yes, I am a madman with no life. I've always thought Batman Mask the Phantasm was such a cool movie ever since I first watched it, but it took on a new meaning recently. Batman Mask the Phantasm is the first animated movie to get a theatrical release, which it so clearly deserves, yet it commercially failed at the box office. Once it was released on home video, it achieved financial success because people are smarter in the Walmart DVD section than at a movie theater. Phantasm's success eventually led to 2 more BTAS movies, Sub-Zero and Mystery of the Batwoman. Those are the only BTAS movies after that. There have been 0 other ones since then. You got that? You got that, Bruce Wayne? Or Bruce Tim? I don't know why I said Bruce Wayne. Until the limited theater release of You Know What I'm Talking About. I'm not even going to mention it because it shouldn't have happened. No. Batman Mask the Phantasm was the only animated Batman movie to be released in theaters at that time. This movie has the ultimate all-star cast of all the perfect versions of the Gotham characters, and some new ones to boot. Kevin Conroy as Bruce Wayne / Batman, Mark Hamill as the Joker, Dana Delaney as Andrea Beaumont, who also later on played Lois Lane in Superman the Animated Series. She is truly a great actress. Hart Bochner as Arthur Reeves, who also coincidentally played the annoying guy in Die Hard.
Hans, Bobby, I'm your white knight.
I must have missed 60 minutes. What are you saying?
The guy upstairs is fucking things up, huh?
I can give them to you.
Tisk, tisk. And to think our tax money goes to pay those jerks.
You!
That's right, Harty. Bring in the press, why don't you? What a photo op! The councilman and his wacky pal.
You're no friend of mine.
Oh, Artie, I'm crushed! How the high and mighty forget. Don't you remember? You, me, Sally, and the gang?
What are you talking about? I never met them or you. I worked for Beaumont. I didn't know what he was doing.
Oh, but you knew about it afterwards and put it to good use, eh?
What do you want?
To find out who's iced the old gang.
Haven't you read the papers? It's Batman!
Wrong. It ain't the Bat. Nope, nope, nope. I've seen the guy. He looks more like the ghost of Christmas future. Nowhere near as cute as Batboy.
You're saying it's someone else?
Yeah. Someone who wouldn't mind seeing our old pals out of the way. Maybe. Go. Sob. Just when I thought about you, Arturo. An important, upstanding guy like you could find it awkward if certain secrets were revealed about his past.
Wait, you're not saying that I...
Mr. Reeves, Miss Beaumont on the line.
Beaumont? Not the babe? Oh, you devil.
Arthur? Arthur, are you there?
Hello, Andrea. We're still on for lunch, right?
I'm sorry, I can't. I got hung up. I'll explain everything tonight, okay?
All right. I'll see you then.
Now, ain't that a coinky-dink? We're talking about the old man and the spawn of his loins just happens to call. Makes you want to laugh, doesn't it, Arthur?
And yes, I do have a Die Hard video on my channel. And yes, if you want to flood those views all the way up right now after this video, please do. Because my ego can't get any bigger. Or can it? Stacy Keach as Carl Beaumont, Abe Vigoda as Salvatore the Weezer Valestra. He also played Salvatore Tessio in the freaking Godfather movie. So that, I think that's really cool casting. Smart casting on the part of Andrea... Darn it. Andrea Romano. Yeah, that's it. Fantastic person. Dick Miller as Chucky Soul, John P. Ryan as Buzz Bronski, Ephraim Zimbalist Jr. as the Alfred. We all know he's the definitive Alfred. No one can beat his wittiness mixed with warmth. The only one close is... I'm not going to say his name because he's too awesome. He needs a whole video about himself, but he was in Gotham. Bob Hastings also has the definitive version of his character. Commissioner James by the Book Gordon. Robert Constanzo, a national freaking treasure, as Detective Bullock. Jeff Bennett provides a few different voices. We all know him from BTAS, specifically as Hardak. And finally, Arlene Sorkin appears in an uncredited role as Miss Bambi, one of Bruce's socialite flirts. I do think that's interesting because Arlene Sorkin, as we all know, is the original actress of Harley Quinn and the best actress of Harley Quinn, because Tara Strong simply sucks as Harley Quinn, but I'm not going to get into that. Before we start rolling, I want to give you some background on the production of this Bat-themed Batsterpiece. Impressed by the success of the first season of Bat animated series on Fox, Warner Brothers assigned Alan Burnett to write a story for a full feature animated film. The original idea for the film was to have Batman being captured by his enemies at Arkham Asylum and be put on a trial by them, as they wanted to show that he was guilty for making them what they had become. And if you recognize this episode concept, there's a reason. The idea's concept, however, was considered too brainy, as it required Batman to be immobile for a long time, so the idea was later used in the series episode Trial, which was aired after the film's release and is a banger. Truly. Although the Joker does play a pivotal role in the film, it was Burnett's intention to tell a story far removed from the television series' regular rogues gallery, which you achieved, obviously. Burnett also cited he wanted to do a love story with Bruce because no one had really done it on the TV show. I wanted a story that got into his head. Yeah, it hadn't been done yet because Talia hadn't appeared on the show yet. And there were like small little bits with Catwoman, but still. Members of the creative team have claimed that they did not intend for the Joker to appear in the film. That's what they all say. Paul Dini has contradicted this, stating that the Joker's role was always part of the story from the beginning of the film's production. The DCAU writers contradicting each other, that never happens. Batman The Adventures continues, cough, cough. The writers were highly cautious of placing the Joker in the film, as they did not want any connection to Tim Burton's 1989 film Batman. But writer Michael Reeves said, "We then realized that we could make his appearance serve the story in a way that we never could in live action. Also, it's better than Batman 89 on so many levels, so don't have to worry about that." In order to keep the Joker as a solo threat, Bruce Timm and Burnett convinced frequent animated series writer Dini to not use Harley Quinn in the film for that reason, even though they used her as Miss Bambi in an uncredited role. So he put her in there. That's funny. The same technique was previously used in episodes Joker's Wild and The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, to make him solo threat without Harley Quinn, And it definitely works. Aiding Burnett in writing the script were Martin Pasco, who handled most of the flashback segments. I love you. Reeves, who wrote the climax, I Could Kiss You. And Dini, who claims he filled in holes here and there. You're one of the best Batman writers out there, at all. So thank you, Paul Dini, for living there. The film's plot was heavily influenced by the 1987 miniseries Batman Year 2, written by Mike W. Barr and illustrated by Alan Davis, Paul Neary, Alfredo Alcala, Mark Farmer, and Tom McFarlane. The movie is better than the comic that it's influenced by on so many levels. Orson Welles' 1941 classic Citizen Kane served as an influence for the flashbacks, a story about loss and the passage of time. That will become very obvious later on. The character of Hazel, the cook robot of the World of Future Fair, was named by Burnett after Hazel the maid, portrayed by actress Shirley Booth, the Saturday Evening Post protagonist of cartoonist Ted Keyes' TV series Hazel. On the other hand, the design of the Phantasm went into 20 different versions till one was found which convinced the film's crew. Well, that really tells you how thorough the people who worked on the animated series were, if you already didn't know. According to Burnett, the Phantasm was like the Grim Reaper with a cape. True, although the idea was to make him resemble the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come of Charles Dickens' novel A Christmas Carol, something that even the Joker mentions in the finished version of the film. Early in production, Warner Brothers decided to release Phantasm theatrically rather than straight to video. That left less than a year for production time. Most animated features take well over 2 years from finished story to final release. Warner Brothers making rush decisions. Where have I heard that before? Due to this decision, the animators went over the scenes in order to accommodate the widescreen theatrical aspect ratio. The studio cooperated well, granting the filmmakers a large amount of creative control. Well, that's a novel idea. Wow. How does a company do that? Maybe some companies now should meet this Warner Brothers, since they're so great. Yeah, I went there. Warner Brothers also increased the production budget to $6 million, and it really shows, which gave the filmmakers opportunities for more elaborate set pieces. The opening title sequence featured a flight through an entirely computer-generated Gotham City. As a visual joke, sequence director Kevin Altieri set the climax of the film inside a miniature automated model of Gotham City, where Batman and the Joker were giants. This is an homage to a mainstay of Batman comic books of the Dick Sprang era, often featuring the hero fighting against a backdrop of gigantic props. They would later do another homage to Sprang's works in the new Batman Adventures episode, Legends of the Dark Knight. From start to finish, the film was completed within 8 months. Quite a feat, if I do say myself. Now, put in the popcorn, grab your drink of choice, and let's start. Love that opening with Bugs Bunny, always have. It's hilarious, but it's so classic. The CGI opening is so flawless with the operatic music done by the Bat Lord and Master. Bat Lady and Master. Shirley Walker. May she rest her soul. One thing about the score done by Shirley Walker. Shirley Walker was friends with Hans Zimmer, the man, myth, and legend who worked on the Dark Knight trilogy and Man of Steel, BVS, Zack Snyder, Justice League, and so on. And they were friends, so he helped her with the score for this film, especially with the organ segments, and he works really well with the synthesizer. And he was credited as a synthesis or something like that in the credits. I just think that's a really interesting piece of information, and he continues to be awesome to this day. Fun fact about this piece of music, the lyrics are just people who worked on the production's names backwards. Really funny, but it works so darn well. I usually don't go for CGI and animation. See the travesty, that is, Beware the Batman, for that, but they achieve it so well. I love the aesthetic of the glass breaking in this movie. Every animation improvement makes it so much more cinematic. No live-action movie has ever and will ever beat the fighting in any BTAS episode or film. It's just impossible. You can say Mission Impossible. I love and adore this introduction to the Phantasm. At first you think it's bats, but like Chucky Soul. But with the eerie, ghostly music comes the Phantasm, resembling more the Grim Reaper than Batman. Oh man, Chucky Soul is most certainly dead. I love how far this movie goes. A movie in the continuity of a kid's show, mind you, without stepping across the line. Which, I mean, they're just so great at pushing the boundaries. So Hart Bochner is literally playing his character from Die Hard. I see you guys. I love how sassy my boy Alfred is. I love the way Andrea is introduced into the movie. It's very much like a scene from an old Hollywood film, furthering the dark deca noir tone. Here we go with Bruce Wayne surrounded by women. The I word. Well, Bruce is drenched. Yes, Bochner is definitely just the character from Die Hard, because he's such a dick. I will continue to say how much I love this movie, because I really love this movie. I love how when Bruce enters the other room, the whole party boy Bruce facade just disappears, and the wave of darkness and somberness floods over him. Brilliant stuff. I love that Andrea talks to her parents about Bruce so jokingly. Dana Delaney and Kevin Conroy have so much chemistry. More than you can say for Batman and their love interests in live action. Ooh, a man of mystery. Did I mention they have great chemistry? The BTAS team always nails some sweet comedic bits amongst the human drama. Love them. Here we go with some proto-Batman action in just a ski mask. Well, this isn't going well, Mr. Kung Fu. Bruce is just being mega clocked here. I love that we have Bullock here as a rookie or something. Like, Batman and Bullock were bound to butt heads. Man, this action is so on point. I'm hoping the Batman has some sweet car chases. And I know it will, because Matt Reeves knows me so well. More broken glass. I mean, the people who make, like, windows and just, like, glass fixtures in general in superhero worlds have to live, like, the worst life. especially in, Batman animated series or Smallville. I guess they would be in high demand, but, it sucks to be glassmakers. I love that Alfred has black hair in the flashbacks. It's a small animation touch, but accomplishes a lot. I love how witty Andrea is in the scene where Bruce basically ignores her. Then they fight playfully. Just watch the scene. I love Alfred's reaction. He's like, oh. And then he gets massive dad pride in his son. Now to this scene in the graveyard. Love the dark, eerie, cloudy aesthetic of it all. Very noir-esque, which this movie loves to do, and it's great for me because I freaking love noir. Like, anything noir, that's I will watch that in an instant. Which is why my favorite movie is a noir, which you will soon find out when I do a 5-hour Mahler video on it. And me loving noir is why I'm so excited for Matt Reeves' The Batman movie. Because again, Matt Reeves knows me so well. I mean, like, we could be the best friends in real life. You just don't even know. Buzz Bronski, your angel of death awaits. I still love that line. The angel of death awaits line. It's so creepy, but brilliant. I love that this movie really makes you question if this phantasm is a phantasm or a man. Like, you really have to question what you're seeing and what you're observing. Which I think is something a movie should do. Like, really question if you think you know what the truth is. I love that this movie really... I love the nice touch with the organ when the shot shows the angel signifying, well, the angel of death, obviously. Again, this movie goes pretty far, but only in the right ways. Like, it's crazy they were allowed to do this in a cartoon movie. Which is why I love it so much. Because it isn't just a kid's cartoon movie. It's a noir serial killer movie with Batman as the detective. Which is literally the best concept. Now, Reeves is really trying to get the Batman. Not Matt Reeves, but he already got the Batman. He just gets Batman. But Reeves in this movie, which he's trying to get the Batman so hard, which he won't because he's simply not smart enough. I mean, he's pretty dumb. I love the scene where Batman checks out the site of the murder, but then walks up to his parents' grave with that amazing Batman theme with the touch of the organ. Rain in a Batman movie is just, non-negotiable, which is why I'm so excited for the Batman movie, which I will never stop mentioning during this video because the Batman movie is probably going to be like the second best Batman movie. Only second to this movie, because this is the perfect Batman movie. I love the symbolism in the scene where Andrea and Reeves are on a date while Batman watches. A literal triangle, then showing the hands of Reeves and Beaumont touching in the binoculars. Brilliant. I love the future theme park, very 40s, harkens back to Disney's, especially since its fantastic symbolistic dichotomy between the past and the present. The theme park being an idealistic, happy future, not knowing what decay and die, because of the very evil he ends up fighting. Side note, it's really awesome he finds the design for the Batmobile in the theme park. I mean, that's just awesome. I love how nerdy Reeves is in the flashback. He looks so uptight too, and very stark difference between him in the past and the present. Though he's just, he's the worst in both. Props to the actor who played Carl Beaumont. He really sells the role of a loving and dedicated father, crippling under the pressure of his terrible mistakes. Nice shot of a certain pointy-nosed fellow, wondering who he'll be. Now we're going to get some Bruce Wayne fighting action. The animation is way on point in this scene. Great fighting, great shots. I love that sort of slow motion shot of him punching a biker in midair. Wham! He just got hit with a baseball bat. That's going to leave a mark. Like, don't call him Batman for nothing. Now we're getting to the brilliant stuff. Love this scene of Bruce trying to find an identity to make criminals fear. while wrestling with the choice between Batman and a good life as Bruce Wayne with Andrea. Now we get to the best Batman scene ever. It's so dramatic and tragic at the same time, and I just love it. Him pleading to his dead parents when he didn't plan on being happy, that just hurts so much. But, it hits home.
What am I still doing this for? It's gotta be one or the other. I can't have it both ways. I can't put myself on the line as long as there's someone waiting for me to come home.
Miss Beaumont would be glad to know you feel that way, Master Bruce. She's holding on line 1, sir. Master Bruce?
Alfred, I can't. Not now.
What shall I say, sir?
I don't know. I just don't know! It doesn't mean I don't care anymore. I don't want to let you down, honest, but it just doesn't hurt so bad anymore. You can understand that, can't you? Look, I can give money to the city. They can hire more cops. Let someone else take the risk. But it's different now. Please. I need it to be different now. I know I made a promise, but I didn't see this coming. I didn't count on being happy. Please, tell me that it's okay.
Maybe they already have. Maybe they sent me.
I love this movie, and I will never stop saying that. Now, to the next scene, we got Sal Valestra and Reeves in a car. Sal is scared of Batman, saying he'll crucify me. Then Reeves has the driver pull over, and he gets out him saying, "It's not very healthy in here." With Sal's deadpan face. That is hilarious stuff. Now we're back in the Batcave where Batman is investigating the connections between the victims. An interesting detail having Alfred cleaning some fencing swords. Just a small detail. In Batman's findings, he finds out that Sal Valestra owns a dummy corporation named Puckett and Peterson, which is a nice little Easter egg named after the two comic book writers on the Batman Adventures comic book run. Before that, he also found two companies owned by the two victims with the names O'Neill and Adams, named after Denny O'Neill and Neil Adams, who worked on Batman comics in the 70s, my favorite run. I love how Batman deflects Alfred's snarkiness about how he's definitely going to visit on. He gets the ring back from Andrea with a note, telling him she's left with Dad, telling him to forget about her, making the decision between Batman and having a life for him. He then puts on the Batman suit for the very first time, him putting the last chance, putting down the last chance at being Bruce Wayne. Only Batman. Terrifying Alfred because he now knows his son will never be happy. Oh man, that is heavy Batman stuff. I mean, this is a movie. It's a Batman cartoon movie. And it hits that hard. It was painful. I love this movie so much. Gosh. Oh man, I love this introduction to the Joker, where Sal Valestra goes to the future land that's in ruins, where the robot starts singing, and then boom, Joker fills them with blood. Mark Hamill is literal perfection as Joker. I love how the background turns red in Joker's momentary anger when Sal grabs him by the jacket, trying to convince him to kill the Batman. Very comic booky. I love this next scene with Batman and Andrea. Truly two broken people who love each other, but can't seem to put those pieces back together. And then Andrea does a sick burn. After Batman leaves, she drops her glass and sobs. Now we see the Phantasm attempt to kill Salvatore, but finding he's been Jokerfied with a trap for the Phantasm. Then we see Batman engage in a chase after the Phantasm. Then, because Batman's life has to suck even more, the police chase after Batman. This is very Year One inspired, but better because this is done by Bruce Timm and Co. and not Frank Miller. Sorry guys, but it's the truth. This hunt after Batman is so brutal, they try to smoke him out, then they almost blow Batman to smithereens, him bleeding. Struggling to stay conscious and alive, he takes out the police with a piece of wood in his cowl, showing this Batman is way more brilliant than any other. Cowless, he tries to escape the police, including Bullock. Andrea comes to the rescue for the last minute. Now we got Bruce in major bandages. Even Andrea knows our boy Bruce is the world's greatest detective. I mean, it still angers me that phrase, that title that is sort of renowned for the Batman character, an epicenter part of it is not included in any of the live-action Batman movies. I mean, especially since none of the live-action Batman movies actually has him as a detective. I mean, Iron Man 3 has Tony Stark as more of a detective than Batman is ever in any live-action Batman movie. Which I know Matt Reeves is going to change in The Batman, which is why I am so pumped for that movie. Talking too fast, I'm going to die. I love the little things that they accomplish through animation in this. Like even the little smoke clouds that Salvatore blows into people's faces. I feel like the phrase where whatever it takes is the most frequently used phrase in superhero fiction. Two broken people brought back together by putting the pieces back. Maybe. Plus we get an Alfred moment once again, which I love. I mean, I just love the way they use parallels in the different, time periods within the film, like the parallels between the first kiss and the kiss after a long time. Now, here is one of my favorite parts. Bruce looking down at the picture of Andrea's father with the rest of the mob bosses, including who he now realizes is the Joker. The pointy-nosed smoker from the flashbacks. I know a lot of people have a problem with this scene, and I understand the problem, but I don't really have one here because even though it's a little goofy that he just, grabs a red-colored pencil and, puts a smile over Jack Napier, I think it works. And, I think it works. And it proves that Batman is the world's greatest detective. Oh, I love this scene where Joker appears in the doorway of Reeves' office. Lightning flashes with the Killing Joke-esque get-up, long coat, big hat and all. Love it. Mark Hamill's acting as peak Joker in this scene. So amazing. Oh well, this is one of the creepiest Joker scenes ever. Hamill really sells every facet of the comic Joker, from the clown to the sadist. That's why he'll always be the best. Oh man, I adore the lighting in this hospital scene where Batman visits the bedridden Reeves, holding back the laughter. So brilliantly noir. After Batman talks to Reeves, he discovers that Reeves sold out Andrea's father to the mob because he wouldn't help him with his money troubles during his campaign. Typical of a politician, and no, I'm not apologizing to any potential politicians watching. I love the very smart utilization of the locket with Andrea's picture throughout the movie as a through line from the flashbacks to present day. Very similar to Rosebud in Citizen Kane. Very smart and tight writing. Well, big reveal. Our gal, Andrea Beaumont, is the Phantasm. It's easy to see once you know her father was murdered by Joker, but I still think it's a brilliant mystery. I love this fight. Andrea delivers a swift kick to the goods. Joker grabbing a thing of salami and hitting Andrea with it. I can't. I love the usage of the World's Fair as the setting for the finale set piece. A symbol of however much Bruce tries to put the broken pieces of his past together, he can't because they're in ruin. And I love this line, which I think is the best line of the movie and one of the best Batman lines I've ever heard.
Your father's dead, isn't he? You came into town early to get Chucky Saul, so you could shift the blame to your father if you had to.
They took everything, Bruce. My dad, my life, you. I'm not saying it's right or even sane, but it's all I've got left. So either help me or get out of the way.
You know I can't do that.
Look what they did to us! What we could have had! They had to pay!
But Andy, what will vengeance solve?
If anyone knows the answer to that, Bruce, it's you.
Leave, Andy. Now. Please.
One of the best Batman lines of the day, showing where Bruce's morals lie. Oh, I love when Batman's walking through the miniature city. There's a WB on one of the buildings. Wham! Joker hit him with a building. Love that kick into Joker's jaw with the blood and a tooth falling out. Tremendous action. I'm telling you, this movie's finale trumps all superhero movie finales to date. No sky beam required. This one shot where Batman's in a sort of underground part gives me serious Third Man vibes, which is one of my favorite noir movies. So props to them if that's what they were going for. Oh, I love this jetpack scene so much. Their back and forth is so awesome. Plus, it was very good for action figures. He said whatever it takes again. Oh, well. Batman and Joker are majorly bleeding. Especially Batman. I love how operatic the dialogue between Andre and Bruce is in this scene. Goodbye, my love. That's tragically brilliant. I'm telling you, this movie is so brilliant. I love that operatic score from Shirley Walker as a symbolistic, ideal future happiness of Bruce burns and explodes. It's so amazing. Now, here we are to my favorite shot of Batman, his head in his hands, because he couldn't save the woman he loves.
I couldn't save her, Alfred.
I don't think she wanted to be saved, sir. Vengeance blackens the soul, Bruce. I always feared you would become that which you fought against. You walk the edge of that abyss every night. But you haven't fallen in, and I thank heaven for that. But Andrea fell into that pit years ago. And no one, not even you, could have pulled her back. What is it?
At first, Bruce and Andrea are set for marriage, but then Bruce is given a farewell note from Andrea cutting off the relationship. This eventually leads into Bruce's decision to become Batman. Richard Corliss of Time felt this scene paralleled Andrea's decision to avenge her own parents and reject love when she finds her own father murdered. Both events transform the two people. Bruce becomes Batman, Andrea becomes the Phantasm. I'm telling you, parallels. They are so great at parallels in this movie. Then back in the movie, there's a shining light in the cave. He walks over to it. It's the locket with her picture in it. That's so brilliantly staged. Then we get Andrea's final scene on a boat where a guy asks if she wants to be alone. I already am. The scene feels so tragically the end of like a 30s to 40s noir. I just love it. I just love all of it. Then we pan up into the Gotham skyline, where Batman stands, resolute in his mission for justice, not vengeance. grappling away, swinging into the night as his operatic score sounds. Batman. That is why this is my favorite Batman film. That's why I think it is the perfect Batman film. Because it is crafted with such artistry and respect to the core of the character, and what makes me love stories in general. That doesn't feel like a Batman movie. It's just a great film. It feels like a noir tragedy with Batman at the center. I love Batman Mask the Phantasm. I could talk about this movie for hours and hours and hours. I just want to thank everyone who made this movie happen. Thank you for reminding me why I love film and why I love Batman, because it inspires me to be better, to never give up, never give in to hate, never give in to the darkness that's in each of us, to never fall into that abyss, to always keep going, hoping we never fall in, to always keep going, even if the heart hurts. That's why I love Batman Mask the Phantasm, and why I think it's the perfect Batman film. As I said, I've always loved this movie, but it really took on a completely new meaning recently for two reasons. As time's gone on from my early childhood where I first saw this movie, I've experienced life. Sure, my parents were never murdered. I never lost the one woman I loved to the mob. But I have lost people. I've been hurt by life. I've experienced depression, desperation, like we all do. I felt like a broken person at times, like Bruce and Andrea in this film. Through this movie, I learned from Batman that you can rise above that pain, get through it even if you're broken. You can still put those pieces back together if you choose justice, not vengeance. Light, not darkness. Because Batman Mask the Phantasm taught me that it's okay if you're broken. It just matters how you react to that brokenness. Striving to be better, or giving into your worst, darker impulses. That's what Batman is to me. The fight to keep the broken pieces of his city together, inspiring me to do the same. Batman is about helping the broken kid that he became when his parents were murdered. The broken kid he is. The broken kid I am. That's why Batman Mask the Phantasm. It's the perfect Batman movie. To me.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.